And I mean, I can just go into write my next pick, which is actually Ciboney, right? A company that I never thought that I'd have as a stock to watch
Really? Why?
until no,
Why?
because of where it was before, of
We've
where it was
spoken
before.
about this many times. That's
We
why I'm
have,
that's why
we
I'm
have, we
smiling,
have,
you
we
know.
have, we have.
Privately,
So
privately, just for everybody. You know.
yeah, man, yeah, man. So I mean, I think now it makes sense, right? Where I've actually went to the AGM in person for them and heard the new direction, heard the opportunities, was able to interview Nigel and Wayne directly. Actually, need to air that interview. So apologies, everyone, because it's about a month old, but it's actually still relevant. Because when I went through it today in preparation for this, I thought it's still some good information that shows where they're headed. Now, I've actually seen some articles that support, because I actually shared the interview with some persons in media so that they were able to write articles and stuff like that. So the information is out there, but I think the interview is still useful. And the vision that was painted for me is a complete kind of push and drive to make a mark in the space. And I think with the relationships they seem to have, with the needs that they will have, because there were talks about fundraising, there were talks about different kind of things that they will need. And so I mean, it's just that same thing I mentioned earlier about the narrative of a company. I think all those things will kind of combine into one for just a great opportunity for them, right? So it's interesting to see how people will react, because of course there's this, and we saw it a little bit where some persons were still viewing MFS as SSLVC, if that makes sense. Like there were some people even after that 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 transaction went forward, people were still kind of looking at it the same. um so yeah, so the thing is, the interview, and I see Limitless asking about it, the interview is going to be loaded in our first Market Money episode. That's next week, so you can, like, I've edited it, it's ready to go, so you'll see that next week. But yeah, I think they'll have an interesting period. Now, I do think that the moves for them, or where things will start to translate in terms of the results, etc., by my understanding, maybe Q2, Q3. But still, I think with some things that are projected, they should have an interesting year. Now, I'm not a shareholder. I don't know if I'll become a shareholder at a later date, but I just think that's one of the companies that I'm expecting to maybe be talking about a lot throughout the year, right? So that's it. I can't look at their financials or anything because that would be irrelevant. So it's really about just this new phase for the company, and what I think they'll be able to do in terms of just actually just having something worthy of actually us talking about here on our channel. So Devon, they did mention having to fundraise, and Nigel spoke about different options. So as most companies will probably say, closer to when they're ready for it is when they'll decide. So it sounded to me, and you'll see in the interview when it's released, they mentioned many options: bond, APO, maybe debt, many things. So it sounded to me, or whenever a company says that, it means they have not decided. All right, that's what that sounds like to me. So, but the AGM, I think it sounded like it was an APO, but I don't think that they've made that decision yet. All right.
I don't know why I thought they were strongly leaning towards an APO. I don't know why.
Well, I guess it's how you interpret it. When I heard it, it sounded to me like it hadn't been decided, or they're not there yet, right? But
Well,
we'll
I
see.
mean, I've invited Nigel and his team to a South PR day after tomorrow, so I'll follow up with him and let's see how that goes. in the SOTR setting, without the recording and the media,
Exactly.
may have a different discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jermaine, do you think Ciboney will stay on the main market or go to the junior market?
Interesting. I've never has companies gone the other way.
I
I've
think
known companies.
if
Mm,
if they are below, so I was thinking about it for the team. If they are below the limit, because remember the reverse merger that they did was into a main market company.
yeah.
You can't just choose a company to do a reverse market merger in. The shell has to be there. The shell was just on the main market. I think they could have an argument to say, look, we are below this capital limit. We are really a junior market company. This is a new listing,
Oh,
right?
so that we can
So
benefit from the tax break.
yeah. So send us to the junior market. But to me, that depends on how large IEG is. When I see, these articles, which are a bit obscure because they say things, but they don't say things at the same time,
Yeah.
then I don't necessarily know how large IEG is. It could be that they stay on the main market because they're definitely larger than the cap limit of 500 million, which may or may not change sometime soon. Um, and then use the opportunity being on the main market to raise an even larger amount of funds that they couldn't raise or they've been limited by.
It sounds like they need a lot of capital to me, Simon. Just from the
Yes.
conversations I've had, from the
Yeah.
AGM, from other things that I've heard. And because of the maturity of energy projects, they
Yeah.
require a lot of capital. So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have to raise a lot of money, and so I don't think they would need to go at all. I don't know how much you're planning to raise right off the bat, but we'll see. But it's unlikely to me, but anything can happen, right?
Yeah. So I think it's probably more likely that they stay. I haven't spoken to Nigel at all about this. So
Mm.
hopefully, if he shows up Friday, I'll have a more detailed, a much more
It,
detailed conversation with him.
he's a very, very easy person to talk to. I like how at least he was seemingly very straightforward with me in our conversation, very willing to
That's
talk as
good.
well. So
Question though,
mhm.
IEC has IEG, IEC, whatever, SPV, whatever. Through Nigel has a relationship with Wigton. Um, Through not just the projects that they do, but Nigel has a relationship with Wigton himself, I believe, on the board, right? Did he mention how? I promise you, Jermaine, I'm not interviewing you. I'm
No,
just
but it's fine. It's
asking.
fine.
Did he mention how that relationship will be going forward? Because I
Mm,
see IEG possibly tagging on to Wigton's larger projects and bids, either going at it individually or together where it's beneficial.
So I didn't ask that specifically. So I did two interviews. I interviewed Nigel and I interviewed Ray. I think I asked Wayne about partnerships, but
Mm.
not any specific partnership. So that sounds like an interesting question to ask. Um, but I do plan to invite them to a market money segment as soon as I think more news come out. Because it was my first time meeting them, I didn't want to necessarily overwhelm them with questions. So um, yeah, but I think most people are making that connection as well to see potential opportunities. And I know Wayne speaks highly of the importance of partnerships and what that will do for them, etc. So
Yeah. I think it's there as well, but I will say though that from the announcement was made about who would be purchasing Ciboney and eventually doing the reverse merger. I did my googling of IEC. Like there's kind of a roadmap now to the reverse mergers because it's been done a few times.
yeah.
So the possibilities have been there, and certainly there are a few things left on that list that they will need to do, such as officially changing over the name, which I think they resolved to do
Yeah,
eventually.
man, at the AGM, that was one thing.
Officially changing the ticker, and I don't know how that will change sentiment. Oh, this is not CBNY anymore; it's
Yeah.
IEG, etc.
And
Um,
they've been saying it's the new Ciboney. So they want to ensure that people don't associate them with a company that many people have not understood for many years.
yeah, I wouldn't even say it's a new Ciboney at all. I wouldn't even mention Ciboney after the name is changed. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, looking forward to that. Yes, you said